Now next we're going to hear about some ways that people like yourselves have been able to get involved with taking care of estuaries. Here's our friend Derek again from Tillamook Bay. Hi Derek, how are you?
Doing great.
All right, what do you have for us, Derek?
Well, last time we talked, we explained why it's important to keep plants along streams, trees and shrubs. And here today to help me explain this is Brooke and Reagan again. And what we have here is a nice assortment of native plants that are adapted to life here in the Northwest. If you want to hold up your plant, Reagan, explain what it is. Tell them the name of the plant.
This is a red osier dogwood.
That's right. It's a nice native shrub. And what about you, Brooke?
This is a Douglas fir.
That's right, a Douglas fir. These are both native trees and shrubs that we'd like to plant along streams. And what we want to do is highlight one of the programs that Tillamook Estuaries Partnership does, which is anyone who has a backyard that has a stream or river going through it can plant these nice trees and help restore habitat for salmon. If they don't do this, often what you get is these type of plants moving in, invasive species. They kind of take over, form these dense thickets of one type of plant, and it doesn't make very good fish and wildlife habitat. Not much diversity, just all one plant, so it's not very good for wildlife. What we want is a nice mixture. So if we could cut to an actual picture of one of the restoration projects that Tillamook did. What you see here, I know you can't see a stream, but it's actually buried under the vegetation there.
Wow.
And this is because it's covered by a blackberry thicket. So as you can see, one type of plant, not very good habitat. If we can go to the second picture, we'll see how we corrected this problem. And you can see that we cleared all the blackberry away and planted a nice mix of native trees and shrubs. The plastic tubes that you see, those are protecting the plants that we put in from browsing by deers and rodents until they get big enough to be on their own. And once that grows up, it'll be a very diverse mix of trees and shrubs, and it'll give the stream shade and nice food source, nesting sites, great habitat for fish, wildlife, amphibians, mammals.
All right, bringing back the health of that stream. So the idea here, get dirty, right?
That's
get
right.
down and dirty, get your hands in it, and make a difference. All right, our next person here we're going to meet is Craig Cornu. Hi, Craig, how are you?
Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Good. And Craig is our stewardship coordinator at South Slough. And Craig, what do you have for us today?
Well, my job at the reserve is to make the habitat restoration work happen here, and we've been doing a lot of projects in freshwater wetlands, tidal wetlands, moving into the coastal uplands at the reserve, and the idea is to figure out what techniques work and which don't, and then tell everybody about our results. And one of the ways that we get the community involved in the habitat restoration is to have these Oregon Youth Conservation Corps crews come in and do the finishing touches.
Great.
What we have is typically crews of like 10 kids or so with a crew leader that come in. And one of the main things that they do is they get rid of the invasive species in some of these project sites, something like what Derek talked about. And I have with us here an example of one of the most feared invasive plant species on the west coast, and that's Spartina alterniflora, also known as smooth cordgrass. The folks on the east coast will know that this is a very desired plant on the east coast, but here it tends to sort of take over the estuary, and that's not what we want to have happen here at all.
So keep that thing under wraps, Craig.
Exactly.
Keep that
and
handy.
it just so happens that two large patches of this stuff were discovered just north of us here, and we had an Oregon Youth Conservation Corps crew over several years go in and completely eradicate it. I'm showing the before and after of this site that we had where the crew came in and just got down right into it and got incredibly muddy for about 5 days each year, and just took that stuff out and it's gone. So
very good.
So,
score one for the Oregon Youth
right.
Conservation Corps.
So that's an
All right.
example of the community involvement that we get going here at
Cool.
at the reserve.
Thanks, Craig.